This is Fantasy Football Picks and Bets, presented by Prize Picks 2021 Fantasy Football Week 3 Rankings Update, Injury Report, DraftKings Ownership, and the props that you want to see. If you missed the Best Bet Show on Mayo Media Network and the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast feed on Friday, shame on you. It's probably the, I wouldn't say show of the year, but definitely one of the top 3 shows of the year with me, Pizzola, and Cam. If you like to laugh and have a good time and maybe even get some winners. Cam's 6-0 to start the season, so despite the fact that he might be a crazy person, he's making some good football picks right now, so I highly recommend you go check that out after you watch and listen to this show, obviously. Smash the like button for the episode, subscribe to Mayo Media Network, and in the comment section, give me your favorite prop for Week 3. And over and under could be a Prize Picks, because Prize Picks is probably where you want to go to if you want to put your props together, because most of the time, because you have to pay VIG on sportsbooks, you'll take 2 props, and it'll be like minus 115, minus 120. You put them together, and you get like 2.5 to 1 on your money if you're at a place that allows you to parlay props together. On Prize Picks, any 2, no VIG on each side, you get paid 3 to 1 on your 2. So prizepicks.com is where you want to go, and there's a special offer this week for brand new depositors. Unfortunately, I do have some giveaways for people with Prize Picks accounts anyway, some updates on that. However, if you are brand new to prizepicks.com, go to prizepicks.com, deposit using code MMNNFL. Now, normally it's code MMN, and that still works for your match deposit up to $100. But if you use that code MMNNFL when you deposit, you'll get your match deposit of up to $100. And if you play a Monday Night Football entry this week, then if Dak completes 1 pass or more, you'll just be gifted another $25. So you have to play the Monday Night Football contest, code MMNNFL for a new depositor. You'll get your match deposit. So if you deposit $100, you'll get $200. And if Dak completes more than 1 pass, or sorry, 1 pass or more, as long as he doesn't complete 0 or negative passes, you'll get another $25 put into your account as well. So I highly recommend you go take advantage of that. Me, for this week, the Prize Picks, very bad week for me last week. If you played in the MMN 7-11 contest, you would see old Patty Mayo 0 for 5. Yeah, not great. So that was bad news. I'm hoping to get back on the horse this week. And even if you don't care about playing in the props contest, and like the leaderboards in the description and comment section, if you want to go see where you're at or who is winning, there's only 1 entry out of like 650 now that are a perfect 5 for 5 or perfect 10 for 10. So there's still time to get in, even if you're starting in week 3. But all you have to do is make your entry for $7.11. That automatically puts you in the Mayo Media Network props contest. But even if you don't think you can catch up, if you get 5 of 5, you get 10 times your money on getting all 5 of 5, and they'll give you a bonus 50. So you might as well take advantage of it. I don't see why you wouldn't at this point. It could be free money for you. So the $7.11 entry, it's 5 picks. Nothing from Monday Night Football, though. That has to be a separate entry to qualify for that Dak one, and using code MMNNFL. My picks for this week. So hit the one week 1, miss the one week 2. So we're going back to the 2-person power play, 3 times your money. I like Christian Kirk over 44.5 receiving yards this week. DeAndre Hopkins is obviously banged up. We'll get to that during the injury report. I think he's going to play. How much he's going to be used, who knows? And I don't think this one really matters, to tell you the truth, because it feels like Christian Kirk, if he's going to hit this over, is going to do it all on one play. Jacksonville has been abysmal at covering deep threat so far this season. We talk about air yards per target. Only 2 players have averaged more than 16 in a game so far this year. It was Brendan Cooks, week 1 against Jacksonville, and then it was Cortland Sutton, week 2 against Jacksonville. Who is the deep threat on Arizona? It's Christian Kirk. This is a great spot for Christian Kirk. I'm using him in my DraftKings lineups, and I'm taking him over 44.5 receiving yards on Prize Picks this week, and he will be a part of my 7-11 as well, so hopefully that one can get us in the right direction. Now, listen, playing unders is not normally very fun, although if I just played under on all my overs last week, I would have went 5 for 5, so I'm jumping on an under here, and this one it doesn't feel great to do, but I'm taking Mike Evans under 64.5 receiving yards. And here's why. Antonio Brown likely not to play in this game, which means that we get some intersection of Scotty Miller and Tyler Johnson being mixed in. Chris Godwin's going to patrol the slot, along with all of the tight ends, including Gronk, playing up the seams. So Mike Evans is going to be left on the outside. Will he be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey? I think that he will be. I think that's the most logical thing in this game. From overall fantasy purposes, Evans can still catch 2 touchdowns, but they're probably going to be like goal line touchdowns. So I think that receiving yards, if you're going to take an under on Mike Evans, I looked at the fantasy prop too. I was like, man, if he scores a touchdown and gets like 3 catches for 40 yards, then he's going to hit that over. And I don't want to play that game. I want to take touchdowns out of the equation because we know that's what Mike Evans does best. I'm going to hit the under 64.5 receiving yards on Mike Evans. So Evans under, Kirk over, 3-1 on your money. Both of those will be a part of my 7-11 as well. So once again, code MMNNFL for first-time depositors on prizepicks.com. If you play any Monday Night Football entry, you'll get gifted another $25 bonus if Dak completes a pass or more. But I got some other stuff here too. If you're already on prizepicks.com, which I am, that they're doing flash discounts on 3 separate players throughout the course of Sunday. I assume this is what they're doing to keep people on the site and getting to make entries, but it could be a really easy way, if you feel strongly about these guys, in order to hit their overs, because I believe everything's coming down on it. So the 3 are between noon and 12:30 Eastern time on Sunday. The Kyler Murray passing prop is going to go down by, I believe, 30 yards, only in that 1.5 hour window. So you'd have to be on there at that time, noon to 12:30 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday, to take advantage of that. The other 2, between 3 p.m. Eastern and 3:20 p.m. Eastern, the Russell Wilson prop is going to come down for those 20 minutes if you want to take the over on that one. And then between 7 p.m. Eastern and 7:20 p.m. Eastern time in the evening games for Sunday Night Football, the Aaron Rodgers passing prop is going to come down as well. So you can take advantage of those little tricks on prizepicks.com. I mean, you can probably use the Kyler one in your 7-11 if you haven't already made your entry. I already made my entry, and I'm kind of wishy-washy on the Kyler passing yards. I want him running, so that wasn't what I was going to target anyway. If they give me like 25 yards off his passing prop, then it looks pretty enticing. I'm not going to lie to you. So you might want to hold out for that. I don't have the wherewithal to remind myself to go do that, so I just filled out my entry anyway. My contest selections are already in on that one. Overall props for the week. Let's see here. What do I got? I found some just kind of hanging around. The Braxton Berrios receiving prop, I want to hit. No book will put it up. Checked out DraftKings Sportsbook. There's nothing there. I looked at other sites. Nothing up there for Braxton Berrios because Mimsy probably not going to play. It looks like he's going to be benched again for week 3. Jamison Crowder is unlikely to play. And all Zach Wilson does is throw to Braxton Berrios. So if you can find that like 4.5 or better, like under, or even 5.5. I mean, 5.5 is pretty steep. 5 or under, let's say, could give you 5 on the push. I'd just go over on Braxton Berrios, whatever that is, if you end up seeing that pop up. There is no line for that right now. Here are the ones I did play, though. Kenyon Drake, this one's been juiced up to -150, but over 2.5 receptions. I think this is going to be a pretty close game, but even if you look at the implied pass attempts for Derek Carr and the percentage of targets that go Kenyon Drake's way, with Josh Jacobs out, then the over 2.5 looks pretty good. He's one of the primary receivers in this offense. And then when you try to play your movies in this game about how everything is going to go with the Raiders, you got Xavier Howard on the outside, you got Byron Jones on the outside, so Henry Ruggs, bloop, Brian Edwards, bloop, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, Kenyon Drake. Those are where all the pass attempts are likely to funnel in this game. Over 2.5 is a really nice number. I really like Tyson Williams, over 54.5 rushing yards. Yes, he's going to have to split carries with Lamar and Devonta Freeman and Latavius Murray, but Tyson Williams is still the lead back in this offense against a pretty weak run defense in the Lions, where they're 8.5-point favorites. You would expect them to run a lot, and with Lamar dealing with this illness, maybe there's more rushing in this game if they can sort of front run in this situation as well. So it's just going to take a chunk run or two and then average 2.5 yards per carry the rest of the way out with Tyson Williams' overall workload, and he should get to that 54.5 number pretty easily. It's a lot like Darrell Henderson last week, where he got there, then he got hurt, then didn't come back into the game, and he easily would have had it over. So hopefully he can stay in the game, not fumble, not get hurt, and we will be good to go with Tyson Williams. Matt Stafford over 40.5 passing attempts against the Buccaneers. The Rams, a pretty smart team. Sean McVay, pretty clever dude. I think he's going to see the trend of just don't run against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, pass as much as you can. So as long as Cooper Kupp isn't scoring 80-yard touchdowns on the reg, expect a lot of pass attempts in this game. So over 40.5. Austin Hooper over 2.5 receptions. Yes, Beckham's coming back, but there is no Jarvis Landry. Expect Hooper to run a few more routes at least on the 75% during passing plays. The issue here is that the Browns are 7.5-point favorites against the Bears, down to 7 in some spots like DraftKings Sportsbook right now. But if Baker throws 21 times again, like he did a week ago, then that's not going to be great news. But he was dealing with that like popped out left shoulder. Then they got back up during the game when Tyrod went down. I think that Justin Fields and his rushing ability will be enough to keep them at least moderately close in this game and keep Baker passing. If that's going to be the case, expect Austin Hooper to go over his 2.5 reception total. And then, of course, the Jameis prop every week. It's down this week. 13.5 rushing yards. Let's go the over on that and play it until it loses. It's 2 for 2 so far. Keep going over Jameis rushing props. Let's jump over to the injuries. And there's a ton to deal with here right now. Maybe nothing too significant with your fantasy football teams, but at the same time, it has affected the rankings a little bit. If you want the full rankings, hit the description of this video. You can find all the hot links to each of the positions. They're also up on DKNation.com. At running back, Dalvin Cook is likely in with his ankle injury, so that's great news. He's still, when we get to the DK ownership projection, still projected to be the highest owned running back right now. I don't know if I necessarily agree with those projections, although this is good news. Expect a full workload for Dalvin Cook until he gets hurt, because that's just kind of what he's up to these days. But I'll probably be playing him as well for your season long, of course, that you're playing him. Trey Sermon for the 49ers and his concussion is past protocol. He's likely going to play, while Eli Mitchell and his shoulder injury are likely out of the Sunday night football game against the Packers. Issue is you're not going to know this until way later, but it does seem like Sermon in and Mitchell out, and then Jacques Patrice is probably going to end up playing a bit as well. I don't love this for any of the guys. If you check out my running back rankings right now, because of the unknown situation that's going along with it, I have Trey Sermon ranked at number 34 at running back. For example, Michael Carter, even against the Broncos, is a spot ahead of him at number 33. That's also a prop I really like. Over Michael Carter, 1.5 receptions. Tevin Coleman has already been ruled out of this game, so it's just him and Tyler Johnson. Expect to see not a full workload for Michael Carter, but enough of one where I can't say that with Trey Sermon with good confidence. It's a much better matchup, a much better situation, but I just don't know his usage and how healthy he's actually going to be. And if he's recovering from a concussion, boom, one bad hit, he's done again. And we don't even know if he's good or not. But if Eli Mitchell sits, you can potentially end up going to him. Of course, Jacques Patrick not available on DraftKings for the Sunday night game this week in Showdown, because that's just the way. No, sorry, I think he might be available in Showdown, but his name is on the main slate. But obviously, he's not playing on the main slate because he used to be on the Bengals, then he signed, so his name is still on the system. Just don't use him because you will accrue 0 DraftKings points that way. Tevin Coleman, like I mentioned, with an illness, non-COVID, is out against the Broncos. So Michael Carter and then Ty Johnson, you probably don't want to have to play either of them. But I do, like I said, like that 1.5 over reception prop for Michael Carter. Josh Jacobs is likely out again. Kenyon Drake, the primary receiving back. Peyton Barber, the primary runner of the ball, potential goal line back as well. Don't love Peyton Barber enough, but like if you legit have no one at running back, he could score 2 touchdowns in this game. He probably won't score 2 touchdowns in this game, but he will likely have those opportunities. Don't forget the Dolphins' defense is really good. I like the under in this game. If you're going to play it, you play the Dolphins plus 4.5. 44 in the overall outcome. DeAndre Swift is still nursing his groin injury. He's likely to be fine, though, likely in this game. Darrell Henderson and his ribs is a true game time decision. That's a 4 p.m. Eastern time start, so you're not going to know in the morning to make your decisions. I would just treat him, unless we get any other word, like he is going to be out. If he's active, you probably don't even want to play him against the Buccaneers anyway, so just don't worry about him. And what else do we have here? Christian McCaffrey, obviously, more on that on Sunday night with Chris Meaney, but he's expected to miss at least 2 weeks. I prefer Chuba Hubbard as the pickup. Others will say Royce Freeman. I think that Hubbard's probably your best bet, especially as a part of the receiving game, which we know that McCaffrey was used so much in. But we'll see what the overall timeline is. If McCaffrey doesn't go on injured reserve, I'd probably pencil him in for 2 to 3 weeks. If he is on IR, he could be out like 6 to 8. So prayers up for Christian McCaffrey and your fantasy teams with your number 1 overall pick. He's been great so far. There's a reason that he's the number 1 overall pick. Just got to keep the guy healthy at this point. Wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins is a game time decision against the Jags. So this could work one of 2 ways. One, he's fine. He didn't practice all week, but he's DeAndre Hopkins. He doesn't have to. If they get up by a bunch, they probably pull him from the game. So the overall upside for DeAndre Hopkins here is not great unless he's actually perfectly fine and there's not that big of a deal with it. But I would temper expectations with him a little bit. I dropped him outside the top 10 at receiver. I believe he's number 12. It's not like you're going to bench DeAndre Hopkins unless he's ruled out for the game, which we will know very early. We'll know that when Lauren does the inactive active report on Mayo Media Network at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. So tune into that live if you have any start sit questions. That's why I like Christian Kirk. So I like Christian Kirk anyway coming into the week. This is why I like Christian Kirk a whole lot more. I don't think this means more snaps for Rondale Moore just because Rondale Moore doesn't play DeAndre Hopkins' position. He's a slot guy. They need someone to fill in on the outside. Maybe more run for Kirk and A.J. Green, although you can't really get much more for A.J. Green at this point. So probably increase snap shares for Christian Kirk. I moved it inside the top 35 at receiver this week. Once again, hit the description to find those hot links to the updated rankings or on DKNation.com. Jaden Mickens is out for Tampa Bay, as is Antonio Brown, more than likely with COVID-19. Mickens didn't travel with the team, so he's done. I don't think Brown now has enough time to pass the COVID protocols in order to get in. That moves Tyler Johnson or Scotty Miller to the outside. Or maybe they move Godwin a bit to the outside, move Scotty Miller to the inside. Maybe we see different formations. I don't have a good grasp on who it's going to be. I know that people are going to go to Scotty Miller on DraftKings at $3,100, and I can't blame them for that. I would temper expectations, though. He's probably your best bet for a big play, a big score in that game. It's just too much uncertainty for me to, as a popular $3,100 play, I probably wouldn't go there. And when I'm talking popular, I mean like 4 or 5%, not like chalk by any means. I think you can find other options or don't need to go that low on DraftKings this week. Odell Beckham will be back for the Browns. T. Higgins is likely out for the Bengals. More run for Jamar Chase in that game, at least in terms of target share. You'd think maybe CJ Secret of the Uzma can get a few more targets shunned in his direction. Tyler Boyd will still primarily play out of the slot. On the other side of the ball, Deontay Johnson is going to be out for the Pittsburgh Steelers, so more Juju. And we're going to definitely see more of James Washington in this game, who will likely start on the outside in place of Deontay Johnson. Dwayne Eskridge is out with a concussion for the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to play him anyway. Darnell Mooney Tunes in his groin injury, which he seems to have every week. He's still probably going to play. Amari Cooper is likely in on Monday night with his ribs problem. Russell Gage is out, so Zacchaeus, you'll see more of him in this game against the Giants. Marquise Brown is likely in for the Ravens against the Lions. And Jamison Crowder is a true game time decision in the 4 p.m. game. Again, it's going to be Braxton Berrios in that spot if Crowder can't go, and for PPR purposes, he's going to be perfectly fine and score you like 12 points, because that's what he does almost every single week. Maybe this is a week he'll score a touchdown, but probably not, though. Quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson has a stomach illness. He's likely going to play. Carson Wentz appears like he's going to start for the Colts, too. Here's a fun fact about Carson Wentz. We didn't know if he was going to play at all week. So Jacob Eason was presumably going to be the starter if Carson Wentz wasn't going to play. It should be indicative about how good Carson Wentz is that sportsbooks didn't mind putting a number on this game all week, whether it was Eason or whether it was Wentz. Books basically told you they're the same guy. So that's a not great endorsement of Carson Wentz. Realistically, the only two Colts that I would want to play in this game are Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman. Now, I don't know how long the Zach Pascal touchdown streak can go. It's not something I'm really buying into. So those would be the two guys. If you had to play Hines, you could play Hines, but it's probably not going to be a great situation either way. Tight ends, Anthony Firkser is out for the Tennessee Titans. The Jeff Swaim target share just never materialized a week ago, so I wouldn't worry about that. Evan Ingram might play for the Giants this week. Just, wait until he actually plays and see what he does and what his target share is before we do anything with Evan Ingram in this spot. DK ownership for the week. Top 3 for quarterbacks. I got Kyler, Lamar, and Justin Herbert. A lot of people appear like they're playing Kyler and Lamar by themselves. I mean, I can't hate on that. Those are the guys that you do want to play by themselves. I would play Justin Fields by himself too if I really had to, but maybe you want to pair him up with Cole Kmet or Allen Robinson, play Nick Chubb on the way back and have a little mini stack of that game. But I think with his rushing ability, because that's where you want to maximize his points, just playing Fields alone isn't the end of the world. I prefer Kyler of the higher owned guys. Kyler, Kirk, Marvin Jones on the way back. Let's go. Maybe you could even play James Robinson if you wanted to instead of Marvin Jones. That would make it more contrarian because Marvin Jones, as you'll see at receiver, one of the higher owned options of the week. We did a full breakdown on this on Thursday's show with Big T. We talked through a lot of the different lineup combinations that you can have. I would highly recommend you go check out that show. At running back, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Delvin Cook, Austin Eckler seem like the big 4. Right now, mostly every projection system that I've run has Dalvin Cook coming out at top, but I wonder with this injury whether or not that people are really going to flock to him as the big safe play this week. They might just go to Derrick Henry instead. I think that's what's going to happen. Not to say that Dalvin Cook is going to be unowned, but instead of being like 25% owned, he'll be like 16% owned and kind of swap roles with Derrick Henry as that lead running back slot, which, I can't really argue against. I would prefer to use Cook over Henry because I'm a loser at this and I lose money, and that's what I want to do. So Dalvin Cook, for me, I just think that's a more stackable game for my purposes. Wide receiver, Cooper Kupp likely to be the highest owned player at any position on this slate. Then there's a big drop off to like Marvin Jones, Chris Godwin, Tyreek Hill, and Keenan Allen. I actually prefer Mike Williams over Keenan Allen against the Chiefs just for touchdown upside purposes in a game where you think that you will be having to pass a lot. If you wanted to do a mini stack for me in that game, I'd leave out Keenan Allen. I'd use Herbert and Mike Williams. I would even throw Austin Eckler as a triple stack over Keenan Allen if that's the way that you wanted to play it. At tight end, no shocker here. The big three are going to be Kelsey, Waller, and Hawkinson. It's not even going to be close. Those are probably objectively the three best plays on the main slate on DraftKings. So that makes a lot of sense. They're very expensive, though. If you want to save the money, Austin Hooper is $3,600. Higbee should probably get a lot of ownership, too, because people are jamming players from that game into their lineups. Defense, Cardinals, Broncos, and then everyone else. I still like the Falcons at $2,500 against the Giants because Daniel Jones will just give you some fantasy points for nothing. Maybe they can turn one into a touchdown, and all of a sudden the Falcons D looking pretty good. And let's not forget, they had 3 sacks of Brady last week. They can get to Daniel Jones, especially if he's doing that thing where he just runs around in the backfield with no purpose. Someone could tackle him. That could be a thing, right? Let's hope so, because I'm using a ton of the Falcons this week on DraftKings. Once again, code MMNNFL. If you've never signed up for Prize Picks in the past, use that code. You'll get a deposit match of up to $100. And if you play a Monday Night Football, just 2 picks over-unders on any of the 2 props from Monday Night Football, you will unlock the Dak bonus. If Dak completes a pass or more during that game, you'll be gifted another $25. So the move is deposit $25 using code MMNNFL on prizepicks.com. They will match you $25, so you'll get $50. Play one entry for $25, which will be worth 3 times your money if you win it. But even if you lose it, you still get a free $25 either way. So it's just free money all around. You deposit $25, you can turn 25 into 75 pretty quickly without doing anything. Plus, you get the bonus of actually winning your prize pick and winning 3 times your money. So I don't see why you wouldn't do it. Maybe you hate money. I don't know. But if you like money, prizepicks.com, code MMNNFL to take advantage of that Monday Night Football giveaway. And that's only for viewers of the Mayo Media Network. Thank you all for watching. Smash the like on the way out. Check out the other shows at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Mayo Media Network. Live chat for your start sit questions for fantasy football this week. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.